So obviously there's something quite strange going on behind the scenes here.
And that's where we last left Marco Fasoli and his cosplaying Jesus fanboy here. Just as fanboy was coming to some sort of weird conclusion that Darwinian evolution, or evolution in general, is some sort of conspiracy. I don't see how. It's simple science. But anyway, we'll let him have his fun for now. Hello and welcome back to The Simple Skeptic. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Hit that little bell that comes up. You'll be notified every time a new video comes out. And feel free to share this with your friends and comment down below. Let's take another look at Marco Fasoli and what he thinks about evolution. He titled this interview, 7 Scientific Reasons Why Darwinian Evolution is a Myth. Let's see if he can come up with something original.
Anyway, so the question I have for you now is regarding Darwin's theory. What are the biggest problems that you see in his theory?
There are so many problems. I will highlight just a few, but we could have lots of talks about this. The whole thing is, as intimated by some of the earlier quotes, is full of flaws. But the fundamental issues with it are, I'll just list them quickly. First of all, evolution is not observed and is not happening today. It has not been observed in the past. It presupposes but cannot account for the origin of life. I'm talking primarily of biological evolution here. It violates an important physical law, the second law of thermodynamics. Its proposed mechanism of natural selection and mutation has been shown conclusively not to work. It fails to account for the irreducible complexity that we observe in biological systems. It fails to account for the origin of specified information in the biological systems, primarily the genetic code. And it fails because it violates many first principles in philosophy, which actually renders the very concept of evolution metaphysically impossible and hence irrational.
What? You gotta be kidding me. You have a degree in biochemistry and that's the best you can do, is trot out every old lie that creationists have been telling for decades, maybe even longer? That's all you can do? This is astounding. I'm very disappointed in you. But let's examine those in detail. Well, let's let him examine those in detail, and we'll explain why he's wrong.
That's just a summary of the problems, but it's
more extensive. Yeah.
More extensive.
I'd just like to ask a quick, because I mean, obviously, you're speaking to someone here who's very, very bad at science. I mean, yes. So biology is probably my worst subject.
It explains why you're wearing that outfit instead of a cap and gown.
So could you please expand on some of the things you said, because to a lot of it, it's like you're speaking a different language.
Yes, I mean, the purpose of these points that I'm making is really to encourage people to do their own research and to be with an open mind. It's all available, it's all out there. It's not spoken about in textbooks.
Because textbooks are supposed to present currently known evidence and the facts, not bullshit.
But with an open mind and some research, all these can be found. And I think it's important for people to also form their own opinion about this.
Sure.
But I will just go through some of these points in a bit more detail. So the first point was that Darwinian evolution is not observed and is not happening today. So whenever experiments have been tried to reproduce or simulate the evolutionary process in the laboratory, they've always failed to produce any new species. Mm-hmm. I give a quick example. E. coli is a form of bacterium, very, very simple organism, that reproduces every 20 minutes. Because they reproduce every 20 minutes, they have analyzed it over a period of decades now. So you can recreate in the lab, you can speed up evolution, which is, according to the evolutionary theory, can take over hundreds of millions of years, and kind of recreate it by looking at these organisms that reproduce very quickly, generation after generation. You can recreate it in the lab. And the bottom line is that notwithstanding decades of these small bacteria called Escherichia coli reproducing under very favorable conditions every 20 minutes, lots of generation, recreating effectively the process of evolution. They still are bacteria. You said they haven't become sponges and cats or frogs and so on.
This is a wonderful example of how you can put across a lie to people by telling the truth. Yeah, he's right. Bacteria will not evolve into sponges or cats or frogs or whatever else he might think they would evolve into. Bacteria as they currently exist are not really an evolutionary dead end, but they have got themselves into a situation where they really can't evolve into anything else. They can still be bacteria. They will evolve into different types of bacteria, but they will not get out of that little pocket they're in right now. We did not come from bacteria. We came from the archaea. We are eukaryotes, which came from prokaryotes, which were archaic microorganisms that split off into the different groups. And one is the bacteria, which, as I said, are kind of a dead end. One is us. But we did not come from bacteria. And this is a common thing that you hear creationists trot out all the time. It's just bullshit. Or horse shit. Funny he uses E. coli, which is found in a lot of shit. And it causes problems if it gets into water. Yeah, the less said about that, the better.
They've done a lot of work has been done by a scientist called Lenski on this topic. Fruit flies, they've been irradiated with UV light to try and get mutations to change their form, and all that happens is that they just get deformed and die. They do not evolve.
Mm-hmm. Fruit flies, Drosophila, are sort of like the aforementioned E. coli. They're easy to study. Their genetic system is well known. They are not really used to study evolution. They're used to study genetics. They're a teaching tool. They'll have students work on Drosophila in order to teach them how to manipulate genes. What can we do with a certain gene to make it grow 4 sets of wings or grow 2 extra eyes or have no legs or whatever. It is not meant to study evolution. Second, we're talking about one species confined to a lab. They're not out in nature. They're not in a predator-prey relationship. They're not looking around for different foods. They're not undergoing different climatic conditions. It's just silly to equate laboratory studies on fruit flies with evolution. You can use it to study genetics, which is important in evolution. But you cannot make fruit flies evolve into horses. They will be fruit flies because you want them to be fruit flies. They're easy to study. They're easy to work on. You don't want them changing too much. You want to change the fruit fly, but not into something else. Come on, you got to do better. Okay, I think I'm just going to leave it there. I've had enough crap for one night. I need a drink badly. This guy is a good example of why we have the appeal to authority fallacy as one of the logical fallacies. Because he has a degree in biochemistry, you might think he's an authority on evolution. He's not. You could be a biochemist and work totally in biochemistry and be a great one and be lousy at evolution. Biochemistry is part of evolution, but it ain't the whole thing. Just try to learn a little bit about evolution, and even a high school level of knowledge will tell you exactly why this guy is wrong. Do some research for yourself, as he says. But, well, again, as he says, keep an open mind. But as other people have said, not so open that your brains fall out. Just research what he says and find out why he's wrong. You can do it yourself. But I'll be back with another little critique of some of the other stuff he says. In the meantime, stay tuned for my stupid comment of the video. I've been collecting various crazy comments from creationists. And I'll put one on at the end of each video, and you can either shake your head or cry or laugh or do whatever you want to do. But some of these are real doozies. Until next time, have a nice day.